And part of that was to have, instead of balconies in the back, underneath the stage there were underground chambers where he would station as many as 8 of these Wagnerian tubas. And so when you had a scene where the gods are fighting with the overworld or fighting with the underworld, you hear this tuba sound coming up through the floor. It's just hair-raising when you hear it in Wagner's Opera House in Bayreuth. This centennial tuba has kind of the same effect. It's a very loud stop that is in a part of the organ that's like a closet, and we can close the doors in front of the closet so that that sound goes away. It's buried underneath the rest of the organ. And then when I push the pedal that looks like an accelerator pedal in a car above the tone pedals of the organ, I open those doors gradually, and it just makes an amazing sound. So this is a little fragment from one of Wagner's operas. It's all about the Knights of the Holy Grail, celebrating the Last Supper of Jesus Christ. And it's full of mystery and awe and reverence. And at the climactic moment where the high priest raises the bread and the wine, the Wagner tubas come up under the floor. And this is the holiest moment in that opera happened on Good Friday, which happens to be coming by in the Christian calendar this coming Friday. So this is called the Good Friday Fanfares to celebrate our wonderful new centennial tuba stop. Seems like an appropriate way to welcome one of my favorite people to this stage. This is Ross Porter, who is the administrator of the Spreckels Organ Society. of which I'm privileged to serve on the board. Ross is the one that keeps us all happy and keeps our trains running on time, and he is boundlessly enthusiastic. Thank you so much, Jared. It is my privilege to be on the Performing Arts faculty of the Bishop's School in La Jolla. This is an independent college preparatory school for 6th through 12th graders, and we have a powerhouse performing arts program in addition to the sterling academics and the excellent athletics there. Through the extraordinary generosity of a bishop's family who wants to remain anonymous, we are able to bring, department by department, artists and residents to spend significant amounts of time at our school during the school year. This year was the turn of the choral music program, and we were able to bring the leading choir director in Cuba to the United States, not without a horrendous amount of red tape, I might add, to come and spend a week with us and to get us charged up to do things in the Cuban and the Latin American style. So it's got me thinking about all kinds of music from south of the border. This next piece is by Ernesto Lucuona, who was born in 1895 in Havana, and it's called Malagueña. And not only is this a cool piece for the organ in terms of the chords and the patterns, it's also cool because it enables me to use some of the sounds on the organ that are not made by winds blowing through pipes. We have castanets, we have a harp. You heard a little bit of that in the Running Water piece that I played earlier, the Fountain Reverie. We have bass drums, we have cymbals, we have snare drums, we have xylophones, we have all kinds of neat stuff to add around the edges if we want to paint pictures in a slightly more colorful way. So this is Malagueña using some of these percussion stops of the organ. In the organ world, especially in the theater organ world, these are called the toy counter. makeshift page turners here now. I've worn out one of them. And we have an ulterior motive behind this. Lyle Blackington, who just retired as the Spreckels organ curator on New Year's Day after 40 years here, was brought to a concert when he was a teenager, got hooked on what the organ can do, asked if he could work with the man who was taking care of the organ, and apprenticed with him, and then later became a very fine, internationally respected organ builder in his own right, with a shop out in El Cajon. Dale Sorensen came to town for a completely different reason, heard on the radio that there was going to be an organ concert on the great Spreckels outdoor organ, came down here when he was a little bit older than a teenager, got hooked on what the organ can do, asked if he could apprentice with Lyle Blackington, and now Dale is the official curator of the organ. The young man that's coming out now is a high school student. His name is Chris, and he is hooked on the organ, and I'm doing everything I can to see if I can apprentice him to Dale so that we can have the fourth generation of organ builders come out of experiences people had on this stage. The piece is called The Firebird by Igor Stravinsky. It's a ballet that's based on a magical story of a bird that keeps dying and then resurrecting itself out of its ashes. It's a very long ballet. It's very exotic, colorful music in the Russian Romantic style in the early part of the 20th century. I want to play two movements for you now. This is a berceuse, which is a cradle song, a kind of rocking motion to the music as the firebird is slumbering away in its nest unseen. And then at the end there's this wonderful finale when the firebird rises up and finally spreads its wings and flies away. The last two movements of the Firebird of Igor Stravinsky. The last bookend today is the last movement of the Fifth Organ Symphony of Charles Marie Widor. He wrote 9 of these symphonies numbered and then 3 more with names to them. He was working with a wonderful instrument in a church in France with superb acoustics. The instruments in France, the best ones were built by a man named Aristide Cavaillé-Coll. They were the Rolls-Royce of organs in Europe at the time. And they were the equivalent of a symphony orchestra. And composers in France, especially working in these great churches and cathedrals with these marvelous installations, were writing pieces that for one person were the equivalent of an entire symphony orchestra full of musicians. This is a toccata, which in the French has evolved from the opening piece of Bach. You heard of me sort of zooming all up and down the keyboards. Toccare meaning to touch. In the French sense of the toccata, there's very fast-moving stuff with the hands, and the one gimmick that makes the organ so unique is the fact that you can play tunes with your feet. So the pedals get the big tune for this. It's one of the great showpieces of the organ. Fortunately, once it's in your fingers, it kind of sticks there for the rest of your life because learning it is just hell, to be honest with you. But I sort of made myself do that at an early age when I was tall for my age, so I could reach the pedals earlier than many kids. So it has been a wonderful piece for me. I never, ever get tired of playing this piece. The last movement of the Fifth Organ Symphony of Charles Marie Widor. to have been an extraordinary audience. Come back again. We do concerts every Sunday, rain or shine, all year round, and in addition, Monday night concerts from the middle of June through the end of August. Things unlike organ festivals anywhere else in the entire world. We traditionally close this program with America's national anthem. I'm going to ask you to stand and join me in singing it. And also to remind you to come up onto the stage afterwards. If you go into the organ pavilion, on the level where I'm standing, there's a historic exhibit of photographs. And then on either side indoors, there are giant stairwells that will take you upstairs, and you can peer into the organ itself. It's an extraordinary opportunity. Also visit our gift shop over there. Sometimes when I'm not playing on this end of things, I'm over there selling merchandise, and so you'll make my colleagues who are working the gift shop today very happy if you want to do your Christmas shopping early. Thank you so much for being here. Join me in the Star Spangled Banner.
Excuse me? Can I ask you, will you put this video somewhere?